And we're back, the Home Team Podcast, Domagoj, Branko, Nikola. And for today's show, we have a very special guest, Mark Viduka, a Croatian, Australian, Aussie Croat. Don't know how exactly we phrase that these days, but definitely a football legend, I will say. And somebody that was a good start, eh? Before I pass the ball over to Branko, I actually remember seeing you, and I think that was the season where we Dinamo, back then it was Croatia, I think, where it was the 5-0 game, and I remember seeing you and a couple other players, and one of them was Goran Ivanisevic. You guys were walking by Maksimir Stadium, and I'm looking at you guys, and I'm going like, geez, I didn't think Viduka was that big.
The first time I met him was with Raguš.
Yeah, Robbie.
We were on Bogovićeva in Zagreb, where all the cafes are, and he meets him. Hey, how's it going? This and that. He's got a wad of money hanging out of his pocket. They must have paid you in cash.
Yeah, probably.
And what are you doing? I'm going to buy sunglasses.
Sunnies. I'm going to buy some sunnies.
Sunnies.
Yeah, with that accent.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. But okay, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Melbourne Knights. You started with Melbourne Knights. I remember hearing you tell a story about the first time you came to Melbourne Knights as a kid, and what happened.
It was actually, at the time it was Melbourne Croatia,
Right.
because they had to change the name later on. So that was our team, me growing up. So I was a kid going to the. We played at the highest level in Australia. Melbourne Croatia was like at the top.
Yep.
And Sydney Croatia. So basically, I used to go as a kid since I could walk probably to the games with my dad. And that was basically for me the be all and end all. And since, he used to take me, that's all I wanted to do, just play football. And every day I'd be training in the backyard and all that. And I was begging my dad to go to training sessions. I don't know which story you're talking about. So is it the first time I ever went to training?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And what happened?
Because what it was is, so I was in Australia. You started under 9s. You can't. There's no earlier. Some places had under 8s and under 7s and all that. But at Melbourne Croatia, it was under 9s was the first one, and that's all I wanted to play for. And I was like 5, and I was begging my dad at 5 years old to take me to the training, and so he comes along and he knows I'm like 4 years younger than the rest of them, and he takes me to the training session, and I was actually, because I was just training by myself up until then in the backyard and with him, and he'd let me dribble him and all that sort of stuff. And so I get the ball, start dribbling, some of the players, this and that, and one of them takes it off me, right? And I just sat down and I started bawling my eyes out. I started crying, And the coach goes, bolje ti njega do furaj sljedeće godine, znaš.
But that's to me, that's a story of determination.
Yeah.
Some kids will get turned off for life.
Yeah. Well, and I was just waiting for next year.
What was your dad's reaction to that? Was it like, come on, Mark? Or was it like,
nah, I was 5 years old. They were like 9,
Yeah.
Well, almost 9. And but then I came the next year and I played 3 years up for a lot of for a few years I was playing 3 years up, and then I went down to 2 years up because when puberty hits, people start growing, and you're still. So at the start I was very, very, very keen on playing.
Okay, and then
That was my first.
you slowly moved up in Melbourne, Croatia. I guess it also changed to Melbourne Knights in the meantime.
It changed in 1990 when I started playing for the seniors. That's when it changed.
Yeah.
So up until then, it was always Melbourne, Croatia.
We
till
talked about this a lot
94,
with
till
Jozo.
93, 94.
I understand they can change it back now.
They
changed
can,
it.
but I think it's been 30 years. 93. So how long has it been?
That's 30 years, 32.
32 years. And it's sort of, I think it's a little bit more palatable for everyone, than, Croatia.
Well, I spoke to Yusuf, and he sort of said that when they were forced to change, the Croats created a company, Melbourne Croatia, and the team's separate.
Yeah.
And everything that is owned by Melbourne Croatia, and the team is Melbourne Knights.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of like a good business model. Why change it now?
That's why.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the reason, you know. Sydney, Croatia was also, they were saying that they were going to bring back the old name or whatever, but they're called Sydney United, you know. It's I mean, it's a nice name, but...
Fair enough.
But, you know, when I'm sort of I preferred the old name, you know. I was sort of old school because that's where I started. Actually, when I started as a kid, it was actually Essen in Croatia, which was a suburb of Melbourne. It was called Essen in Croatia, and then they changed it to Melbourne, Croatia.
Okay, so Melbourne, Croatia, then the president came to Australia, invited you to come to Dinamo, and you came to Dinamo.
President of Croatia.
Yeah.
Tudjman, right?
Tudjman, yeah.
And
Right,
how did
Tudjman.
it feel coming to Dinamo? What was the experience? You show up first day, somebody wait for you at the airport. Did you take a tram? Like how did it go?
Well, I come up the first day and there was a press conference at the airport. Like there was press was waiting for me at the airport because in Australia I was two times in a row. I was Player of the Year in Australia, top goal scorer at 18 and 19 years old. So I was like an up and coming
Obviously, yeah.
player for the national team as well for Australia. You know, I already played for the national team at 18.
Right.
Against South Africa, I played a game, and
We're gonna get to some of that.
and then what happened was when I came here. I remember one of the funny things was that I did like a press conference at the airport in my broken Croatian, you know, and one of the first questions they asked me was like, "Do you drink coffee?" And I said, "What sort of a question is that? What does that matter? Like, do I drink?"
Little did you know, eh?
Little did I know. And I'm looking at the guy, and I'm like, I'm 19 years old. What about that? You know, McDonald's for me
they
was
must
like
think
a
Aussies don't drink coffee.
good restaurant. Huh?
They must be thinking Aussies don't drink coffee.
No, like that's one of the first questions. I think, why is that important? Then, later on I found out. Now I've got a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Well,
Came full circle, right?
if we're already going to talk about that, the Wikipedia page for you, I don't know if you've ever looked at it. I wouldn't look at my own if I was.
No.
Viduka currently lives in Zagreb, where he owns a coffee shop and enjoys making coffee.
Yeah.
You just told me you have a Colombian guy making coffee.
No. I enjoy making coffee for myself. They missed out that last.
This is a total promo. He's like, he likes pina coladas and getting caught in the rain.
No, I'm seeing like pictures of him with the thing on. You know.
The barista.
Did you see him?
No,
There are pictures.
no, because I was thinking like the guy with the elbow salt. You know, Mark in the morning, just like whipping
coffee
some.
grinds,
Yeah, but it'd be
Making
like
the
some, like,
design with the cappuccino milk, like the hearts and all that.
but like
you know what happened? There was a guy from Australia who did an interview with me, right? And he goes to me, "Go and stand." He came to the cafe here. He came from Australia to do it, and he goes, "Go and why don't you go make me a coffee?" And then he goes and takes pictures of me making coffee. Yeah. To cut a long story short, I just drink the thing, right? Sometimes I make it for myself if I'm feeling up for it. Yeah. If not,
Colombian.
Juan
Married a Croat. Actually, he married a Croat, so we're good.
Oh, yeah. I had actually earlier point that Branko brought up just dawned on me. Was there a rivalry between Melbourne, Croatia, and Sydney, Croatia?
Yes, but it was healthy.
That's what I wanted to know.
It was a rivalry, but it wasn't. For example, when Melbourne, Croatia was playing interstate somewhere, and Sydney, Croatia was playing somewhere in Melbourne, me and my dad would go and watch Sydney, Croatia, and a lot of the local Crows would do that. And I think it's the same thing. Like if Sydney, Croatia was playing somewhere away, and Melbourne Croatia was playing up in Sydney, they would go and watch them, you know.
So this would be following the theory that you're probably going to disagree. Well, maybe you won't. Dinamo Hajduk, huge rivalry. I'm always put off by fans of one or the other who I always support Hajduk if it's playing somewhere again internationally. It's a Croatian club. You have a lot of people who don't do that.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah,
I never understood that.
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Even when I was, you know, when I was in Australia, before I even came here, I followed, not that I followed, I supported all of the Croatian clubs. And I didn't make, for me, it wasn't a difference, you know what I mean? Only when I came here, I saw the huge rivalry, and some I think they go too far a little bit, you know, with that.
Definitely.
I disagree with that.
Definitely. I mean, I'm a Hajduk fan, and we have you on the show.
There you go. Yeah, he didn't even offer me a drink.
Exactly.
You got water. We gave you water. We gave you water.
Kako domaćin?
No, no. You're going up for Šljiva later. But I took my father, who came back to Croatia after 20-something years, because I was here, and I took him around, and Dinamo was playing Partizan.
Oof.
And Sine, we got to go. I'll get you tickets. I got tickets. We went to the game. And he told me after, we're Hajduk fans, family, you know how it goes here. Best game of my life. That's what he said. The best game of my life. 5-0, right after the war, practically. First time they were here. Huge. And there's something I want to ask you about that game. So,
Pucaj.
yeah, here it goes. And you're going to have to do it for us.
Go on.
The first match played in Belgrade, 1-0 for them. Apparently, Ladic in the locker room, according to an article, they all shook hands and said, "We'll get him in Zagreb," right?
I think that was Maric,
Okay.
Silvio Maric.
And Marijan Vlak, the coach, said this about the match in Maksimir. We and the Partizan players were standing in the tunnel before the match. Oh, he's smiling. He knows what we're going to do.
I've heard this one.
They were already scared, pale as a sheet, because they saw the atmosphere in the stadium during the warm-up. That's fine. However, Juric thought they weren't scared enough. Suddenly, out of the blue, he roared, "Ajmo, let's go!" And then that huge Mark Viduka followed up and roared, "Arr!" He let out such a roar and looked
Sound
at...
like a pirate.
Oh, you're going to have to do it for us.
Yeah.
He let out such a roar and looked at the Partizan players. They just looked down at their boots. They were already finished.
Oh. I think it was something like that.
That
You know, I don't remember all the details. You know how it is when in a situation, everybody's got a different recollection of it, you know. But I was thinking about my own game and probably nervous as hell, which you are.
Yeah.
It's a huge game for us. I mean, when that game, for example, we went to Belgrade the first game and we battered them there. Like, we played really, really well, but nothing would go in. You know, I think we had like 2-3 times we hit the post or the crossbar, and you know, we had chances.
They said it had many misses.
Yeah, we pumped them. We pumped them, and they went up the other end and scored a goal from nothing. And you know, it was a you know, a big for them over there. You know, the fans were aggressive and all that sort of stuff, which is normal. I mean, you know, but you don't know how it's going to end, do you? You know, you come to the second game, we come here and everybody's coming up to us. You know, you've got to win. You know,
it's pressure.
Got killed in the war. Somebody, you know, like even old ladies, grandmas would be coming up to us and saying stuff like that. And it's a big responsibility for, you know, for us anyway. And you don't know how it's going to end up. You know, with the thing with football is you can do all the right things, and it doesn't work out for you like it did the last game. You know, and we're thinking, you know, and it was just a huge relief. That's what it's like. You come in there full of you know.
Adrenaline?
Energy, adrenaline, and at that moment, yeah, I probably did something like that.
So it wasn't really...
Let some of it out.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily an intimidation tactic.
But it could have been. Because Goca, me and Goca, that's my kum anyway, Goran Ivanisevic is, you know... by the way, really, big personality and a great leader. He was a lot more experienced than a lot of us, and that was for us a huge thing. And when he said something like that, you join in, don't you?
Yeah, I guess
you join in.
Part of the team.
Yeah. And that was that. So, and thank God it ended up how it did.
How was the feeling after the game?
Just relief. It's just relief.
There must have been celebration.
Oh, yeah.
The locker room must have been on
It
fire.
was unbelievable. Like 3 days, I think we went missing in action.
But didn't you have to do the dinner at Okrugljak first with the president?
We did that, yeah. We did that, and then it was MIA. No, because what we did was, because it was summer, it was like hot, and we were in quarantena for a long time.
July 30th.
And I think they gave us a couple of days off. Mayo gave us a couple of days off, and then we went to Opatija.
Right.
All the team met up in Opatija, and we were just out till all hours.
That's cool.
We ended up.
Go on.
I ended up sleeping on the beach one of those nights. Me, Stjepan Tomas. Listen to this story. Me, Stjepan Tomas, and Goran Ivanisevic. Right? It was summertime. You couldn't get any. We just said we're going to go to Opatija. The whole team. I don't know where other people. Maybe they had places, whatever. We get there. It was like 5 in the morning. We got nowhere to sleep. So stuff it. We'll go on to the beach, right? And we had a bit to drink. Mm-hmm. And we start lying down next to, it was me, Stjepan Tomas, and Thinga, and we lie down just on the plaza, yeah? I think it was Crkvenica or something like that, or somewhere like that. Yeah, Crkvenica. It was Crkvenica because there was a nightclub there,
right?
Like a big one there.
Quicker to get there from Zagreb.
Yeah. And so we're on the beach, right? And gone. Am I allowed to swear in this thing or not? No.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're not allowed to swear. No,
you are.
You know what? Yeah. No.
Put a money jar.
7 o'clock in the morning, this German comes, right, with a bloody, one of those Lilos, those things, Luftich.
Yeah.
And he starts pumping it right next to us, like at 7 in the morning.
Doesn't know who he's...
He don't give a shit, but it keeps popping. Like, it keeps popping every time he pops. We're waking up, you know what I mean? And at one time, Stjepan Tomas gets up and he starts swearing at him, I'm not going to say, like the whole beach, there's nobody at the beach. He comes and sits next to us because we're under the tree, the border. There was a border there. That was a good weekend.
Well, after 5-0, I think so.
Yeah.
You deserve that one.
Yeah, that was good. Good night. Good night.
Okay. After Dinamo, Celtic?
Yeah.
Celtic, Leeds, Newcastle.
Middlesbrough and Newcastle.
Middlesbrough, then Newcastle.
Middlesbrough, then Newcastle. But barring your Croatian teams, which team was your favorite one to play? Where did you have the best time? And I don't mean necessarily...
On the pitch? Or
No, drinking, clubs, and whatnot. Where did you just have the best time, good life?
The thing is, a lot of people ask me that question. And in each of the places, there's positives and negatives. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you can't say, where was the best. You can't. Like when I went to Glasgow, I came from a very bad situation in Dinamo, and I came there and I had a point to prove, and I did really well. I was voted Player of the Year in Scotland.
Yep, we know that.
And top goal scorer.
Our stats crew checked that.
Did they check it? Yeah. It's good that they had it in there. Cause with all these, anybody can put anything on there.
Well, I mean, you're looking at them, right? So
yeah.
We're the stats crew.
Oh, you guys! Well done, guys. You did a good job. So that was a really good thing for my career. It was, then people started taking notice, after that, when you do well in a club like Celtic,
Yeah.
people start taking notice. Then there was interest from Leeds, and Leeds was, they finished 4th in the Premier League the year before that, or 3rd. And they got into the Champions League for the next year. And then they came in and they bought me that summer. Mm-hmm. And with Leeds, we got to the semi-final of the Champions League, you know, and we were up there competing for the title.
How does first? I want to ask you one question, and then we'll go back. What does that look like? You're a player. You're in the club. They're gonna buy you your contract, whatever it is. The agents, whatever, they do all the money thing, and then it's final. You've agreed to it. You're going to this club. How does it work? You get on a plane. You go there. Do they send a plane for you? When you get in, you told us for Dinamo there was a press conference right away.
Yeah.
Do they pick you up at the airport? Do they take you to the club, show you around? Do they have a place for you to live? Is it on your own responsibility? These are things that I don't know anybody I can ask. You're the only one that's ever gone through that.
Well, look, sometimes, like, for example, with Leeds, they were interested in me for a while. They kept sending a guy called Eddie Gray. He was an older player, like a legend of the club, and he used to come to Celtic because he's Scottish, and he used to play for Scotland as well, and he's a huge Celtic fan, and so they brought him along he used to come and watch me. I didn't know he was scouting me at the time, and then they like later on when it was sort of thing, they invited me to come and have a chat to them, and I went down for it was a day during the week, you know. I don't even remember. I think it was, and then we had a chat to them, and they said, you know, we're interested this and that. And then when I signed, I signed during the summertime, and everybody's away in the summer, and it was like a month to go before the pre-season starts. So when I signed, I went there and I just signed the thing. I did press conference, pictures, and all that, and then I went back to Croatia, and then they call you on your, you know, like the day of the pre-season, which is usually around 7th of July or 10th of July or something like that. And, you know, you come in and you meet all the players, and that's basically it.
What happens if you meet a player that, you know, you just destroyed, fouled?
That I did?
No, yeah. Like what happened? Like say there's a player there that you've committed last season in
like
a
a
Champions
rival.
League game, a rival, you really hit him hard or something, and
Well,
he remembers
you get to know them, you know. If it's I've got a story actually. When I was in Scotland, in Glasgow, we played against. I think it was Dundee or Dundee United. There was this huge, tall guy. He was like massive. He was like at least, I'd say, near 2 meters. He was massive, you know, and he marked me. And in Scotland, I think it was like we played each other 4 times, and it ended up like in the last month or so, or 2 months, we had them twice for the cup, the Dundee, whatever, Dundee United, whatever. Then we had him in the league, maybe twice. Maybe it was a catch-up game. I think I like 4 times, and he's marking me the whole like every game of these games. I think in the last month we played 3 or 4 times against them. And I had to come because he was the tallest, and I had to come back for corners and mark him, you know. And he was a nightmare to mark because he was just too. All they did was they threw the ball directly to him. And he'd just header it on or whatever, try to score, whatever. But you couldn't mark him because he was too tall and he was big as well. He wasn't like skinny, you know? And so, you know, I was actually a little bit sick of him, to be honest. Sick of looking at his head, right? And marking him, you know? And because he was hitting me, he was doing this every time I look, my God, you're like, well, leave me alone, you know? Like every week I have to see you, you know? And I come to the pre-season at Leeds that year. That was 2000, whatever. And he's on bloody trial there, marking me again. Like he comes to Leeds on trial and he's marking me. I go, bloody hell, I can't even get rid of you, mate. I thought I saw the last of you.
Did he end up making the team?
He didn't. No.
He didn't?
No, he didn't make it.
Never saw him again in action, huh?
Well, he went back up to Scotland and he played.
So he stayed up there and no more marking. Liverpool, 4-3. We have to ask that.
Yeah.
I know, we have to ask that.
That's all right, it's fine.
4-3, all 4 goals for Viduka. The V-Bomber or Big Dukes, which do you prefer?
V-Bomber was a name where there was a journalist who actually, in Australia, when I was a kid, you know, like I was doing well, scoring goals and that, and he came up with that thing. So not many people, only sort of fans call me V-Bomber type because of what that guy did a piece on me or something, you know. And he was like on television, and then he used to say the V-Bomber's going to do this, whatever. But he was a nice guy, guy called Greg Blake, and Dukes is always always my nickname.
That's like the last name. It's a play on Viduka.
Everybody
right?
either calls me Vidukes or Dukes. That's even at school, you know. Usually it was always Vidukes.
Fair enough. Some people thought V-Bomber meant something else, but
What?
I was curious if V-Bomber was purely a football reference or if there's another reference.
No, it was no.
But we are family-friendly programming. So
No, don't even believe it. No, nothing to that.
okay.
So when you, because you killed it in Celtic, I think you did 30 goals, 36 games, something like it. It was just,
Don't even remember.
it was fantastic. And you get pulled up to Leeds. Leeds is on actually a pretty good run in their relatively recent history then at that time. You know, you guys had a solid team. There's one guy that always sticks out in my mind was, I think his name was Bakir.
Eric Becker.
Yeah.
He comes to Croatia every year on holidays. I was with him this year. He comes to Dubrovnik every
That guy
year.
had a killer shot.
Good guy as well.
Yeah. But so you come to Leeds, and how are you looking at, because you're already now, I'm not going to say a veteran, but you're in that prime of your career.
I was 25 then.
Yeah.
25.
So you've got, you know, the smarts are there, you've got the experience, you've done this a couple times, and the performances are, the physical abilities are. How are you looking at football now at that point? What are you looking to, like? Are you thinking Leeds will be a great place, or do you go, I want to keep, you know, I want to.
Like Real. Or
Well, I was thinking Milan because you grew up a Milan fan, right?
I was a massive Milan fan. I loved Milan. You know, from the days of Van Basten, Hullet, and Rijkaard.
Yeah.
I grew up watching them, and Van Basten was my favourite player, and Maradona, Diego. But the thing is that when I came to Leeds, I really enjoyed it there. I really liked the team there. I liked the people. I liked living there as well. And you know what happens there? That your life starts changing. That's what happened with me at Leeds, where my first son was born there in 2002. Then my second in 2000 and was later. But I lived in Leeds for 7 years altogether. When I played for Middlesbrough, I was living there as well. But what happens is that first year we were competing for the title, the Champions League semi-final. We just bought Rio Ferdinand from West Ham, who was like, we were investing a lot of good players. Robbie Fowler we bought Robbie Keane. There was Alan Smith there, Olivier Decourt, David Batty, Woodgate. Really good team. And I thought we were going to compete with the title. But little did I know that the club was in financial problems. Nobody knew about that. Leeds had big financial problems because they overspent buying all these players, and you know everybody was on good wages and all that. So, and then slowly they had to start. The second year we finished 5th and missed out on the Champions League, and they were hoping to. You know, because Champions League was they were gambling on the Champions League money. And at the time also there was a big thing where, I don't know if you guys remember, but ITV put a bid to take, to show all the Premier League games. And they put a massive big bid, a lot bigger than what Sky was giving. And after 6 months or something, they went bust. And so what happened was a lot of clubs, not just Leeds, a lot of clubs overspent because they're thinking that there's going to be much more money coming in, and there was a lot of clubs in the Premier League and also the Championship which were struggling, like nearly going bust. Like one was Chelsea. Chelsea, if Abramovich didn't come in that time, they would have went down.
Because of the lack of the TV money.
Because they'd overspent. They'd
Yeah.
spent too much money for
Expecting revenues from TV.
revenue from the TV, and then ITV. I think it was ITV Digital. It was called. And then they went bust, like because I don't know. I don't remember the numbers, but they were offering ridiculous amounts of money compared to what Sky was offering, and what Sky was there before, and so it filtered down through all of the clubs, the first of all the leagues. There were big problems in that was I think it was 2002, 3, something like that. There was big financial problems with clubs at that time. And everybody had contracts they had to pay, and then slowly what happened was Leeds started getting rid of players.
Right.
You know, first went, I don't know, Rio, then went Woodgate, then Lee Bowyer. And when you lose continuously all the good players, you know, and then they were replacing them with players who were on loan from France or, you know, some, you know, it wasn't a good time at that time.
That was the beginning of the end, so to speak.
But when it comes to clubs and all that, when you get sold to a club, it's not like like you sit there and say, I want to go to Milan or I want to go to. It has to go. It has to. First of all, they have to be interested. First of all, second of all, you have to find the right terms, money wise. Thirdly, the club has to want to sell you. So when Milan came in, like were interested in me after the first year. The club didn't want to sell me because they were
they're planning on you.
Planning on me, investing new,
Yeah.
whatever. And to be honest, I really didn't want to go at that time because I just moved from Celtic and I bought myself a new house there and I was settling in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after the first year, it goes quick, you know, and it straight like again to a new club, new surroundings, new everything. You know, it takes time to get used to all that, you know, so... I thought to myself, oh, maybe next year or whatever, or whenever, you know, but it didn't eventuate.
Yeah. There's an interesting thing. Branko and I were talking yesterday as we're working up to today's podcast. In my limited sports career, we had a thing that you were only allowed to drink the night of the game. So after the game, you could drink 6 days a week. Or you had to be completely dry.
Like that, yeah.
And I thought right away, I'm thinking like
Scotland?
like Scotland.
Are you kidding me? Is that possible?
Yeah. Like,
What do you mean, like the players?
Yeah. Did you guys have? Was there any kind of like? Did the coaches say anything about that? Was there an unspoken agreement? Was it open?
In Leeds, you go into a pub after scoring 4 goals.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even have to ask for a beer.
I didn't really do that.
I'm not saying you did, but that's an example. Or Glasgow, you go into any Celtic pub, wow, right?
Crazy, yeah.
And was there some sort of rule where, you know, boys, you're not supposed to drink or you can't drink?
I don't think there was a rule, but everybody knew you're not going to drink before a game. Nobody would drink before a game.
Yeah.
I don't know many. I don't think I've played with players who did that. They'd have a drink during the week, maybe a day during the week. We had a lot of Irish players who were playing with us, so they like a bit of Guinness and that. So they used to. Some, you know, players used to. But I wasn't a big drinker. You know, I'd go out for a night out afterwards or something. Yeah, I'll have a few drinks, but like during the week or something, no, I never did. But we had like some of the Irish lads. We'd have like a Wednesday would be off maybe. We wouldn't train on a Wednesday. And then so Tuesday after the training session, they'd go to a pub and then they'd, you know, have a few beers and then they got Wednesday off to recover and then they come back on Thursday.
Right.
And that was that. If they drank, you know, but I really didn't drink in those days.
And what were the trainings like? So basically, you know, you have basketball players, whatever, that I follow, that spend, you know, up towards $1 million a year on their bodies and on their, you know, training personally. Did you guys, I mean, back then, you know, 20 odd years ago, did you guys have access to like nutritionists and personal trainers, or was it kind of like just more relaxed? Was it like you're just going to train with the team, or did you have your own training sessions outside of that?
You know what? You're not supposed to be having training sessions outside because it's sort of, if you overdo it, it's not good as well. Basketball is a little bit different because To be honest, it's not as. I don't think it's as taxing on you. You know, like after a game when you're playing, a Premier League game or something, it takes you days to recover after that. You know, whereas basketballers, they play every second day or something.
You can play, yeah,
because it's
Back-to-backs,
a smaller pitch. Okay, maybe it's more pounding because it's a harder surface, whatever. But with football, you get knocks, you get hits, you get like bruises. Like that's a pretty tame game when you compare it to a football game. You could have one. Somebody hits you on the side and you got to takes you 2 days just to start walking properly or whatever. So you can't really. It's if you overdo the training, you can do maybe technique stuff. Like shooting practice or a bit of receiving, whatever, crossing if you're a winger. Everybody's sort of got their own specific job, but overdoing it is not good either,
So
because especially in the Premier League, if you've got 3 games a week, you don't have, like, even if you're playing Europe, you play Saturday or Saturday, Sunday, and in the middle you've got a Wednesday night game. It's very difficult to do extra training like that, you know what I mean? Because you're recovering. All you're doing is recovering. Like the day after a match is a recovery session. Normally, you go in and you do a light sort of stuff, maybe bike ride, maybe something like that, massage, saunas, swimming, and all that sort of stuff. Then you prepare yourself. The next day is a training session. So if it's a week, you don't have a day off that week. Like if it's a week. Like a midweek game, and basically you just recover from that game. The next day is a bit of a harder session. The day after that's a little bit maybe more of a tactical session, whatever, or it's the game on the Wednesday. It depends. It's a Wednesday or Thursday game, whatever. So basically you're just trying to recover from the games and do little things as much as you can in between. Because it takes a lot out of you, 90 minutes of, and it's a high intensity.
Sure. Mm.
And what's the approach for the off season? Is that basically you're left to your own devices? You're motivating yourself to keep your level of fitness up at a certain level?
They give you a program that you do, right? And it's like running whatever this much, sprinting and all that. Mm-hmm. And
you guys did this?
They give you a GPS thing, so that you can think of. Uh-huh. But I used to just put on my dog and then make him.
Might as well put him on an ankle bracelet,
Again, I can see the picture. It's like throw the tennis ball, coffee.
Oh my God, this guy's working hard.
This guy's killing it.
But a GPS, it's like an ankle bracelet with like a Leeds logo.
Fantastic.
With a Leeds logo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so my dog was doing the doggies.
Okay, let's talk about national team. Australia, you played for Australia. Mm-hmm. You were captain. Mm-hmm. How did you enjoy playing for Australia? And I don't want to get into, we would have liked to see you play for Croatia, but we understand the situation, how it all went. But playing for the national team, that's a huge honor.
It was massive. Like, when you go through my path that I went through, because when I was 16, I was playing for Melbourne Croatia up until 16, and every year I was playing for the state team, Victoria. I'm from Victoria. And every year there's an Australian championship where all the states play against each other and see which state is the best, whatever, to be champion of Australia, whatever. And when it comes to under 15s, the Australian Institute of Sport, which is like a big institution over there for sport, so basically it's a place where all Olympic sports get to are offered, the elite sports people of Australia get offered a scholarship to go and train there, and they've got the best facilities, and that's like top of the top. And so basically out of that, when it's the under 15s championship, they pick 20 players to give a scholarship to, and I was one of the 20. So and also Josip Skorko from Hajduk,
Right. Mm-hmm.
Steve Horvat from Hajduk as well, he was there as well. Ned Zelic, I don't know if you remember him, A lot of good Australian players got offered that scholarship, and I was there for two years. And that's a 2-year program which costs the Australian taxpayer 300 grand
Right.
per person.
Wow.
So you've got board there, you've got, that was in Canberra. I'm from Melbourne, so that was in Canberra. So that was, it's like about 800 k's from where I was from. And so basically it's board, food, schooling, whatever, facilities, clothes, sports stuff, equipment and all that. It's a 300 grand thing. Mm-hmm. And basically I was offered that scholarship, and I went, and that team that they picked was designed to play for the under-21s World Cup for Australia. So basically it was a program that was designed to get these 20 players together who were the best at that time, and make them work for 2 years towards the Youth World Cup under-21s.
Right. Okay, that's building the future.
Building that. It's not just under-21s, and the Olympics teams as well. So basically, I was on that path that Australia had for their football players, and I had no clue whether I was going to come to Croatia or not. Croatia wasn't even, it was at war. It was 92 then, I think. I went in 92. I was 16 at that time when I was in 92. And so I stayed there till 16, till what, I was 17 and a half or something like that when I left there. And I had a 2-year thing, and I started doing like everything professionally, weights. And if I stayed at Melbourne, Croatia, I would never have done that. That for me was what made me as a player. Those 2 years.
That was a step forward or a step up.
A huge step forward. And that's what I said. And so for me, it was the natural progression to go to play for Australia, because I didn't know nothing about Croatia. So all of a sudden, when after 2 years, I go back to play for Melbourne Knights, and we win the minor premiership and we win the premiership the next year, and I did really well. And Tudjman comes in at the end of all that. Yeah. So my progression was already with the national team.
Well, once you've committed to one, that's how it works, right?
Yeah, well, I played for the senior team when I was 18. It was the first in Sydney. It was my first cap was against South Africa there, and for me, I wouldn't have wanted to go back on that. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Because I felt loyal to Australia. I felt that my whole upbringing was from there. My whole upbringing was thinking I'm going to play for Australia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to play for Yugoslavia, that's for sure.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I was a fan of the national team. I used to go to the games. Me and my dad watched the games, and we had a lot of our local Melbourne Croatia players and Sydney, really good players, and we wanted. I watched them in the World Cup. Well, not World Cup, like '88 Olympics. Australia against Yugoslavia. Australia beats Yugoslavia 1-0. Frank Farina was a friend of mine. He was my coach, and he was. So we were for that. We were hoping for a free Croatia. I had no idea that I was going to be involved in any of that.
At one point, there were how many Croatian players on the national team?
In our team, yeah, because we were. That's like
Šulina,
Melbourne Croatia and Sydney Croatia is like I would say the. How would you say, Man U and Chelsea of Australia.
Right.
They were always one of the best clubs, with the biggest history. Those two were huge clubs. People sometimes here have the perception of that like some shitty league in Australia or something. But they were like big clubs in there in the football there.
Okay, so you go to the World Cup with Australia. He's smiling. And you end up playing Croatia. 2-2 game. And whoever won the match, or not necessarily won, but the match would decide on the runners-up for Group F, right? And according to a report on the game, early in the first half, Australian striker Mark Viduka, that's you, was wrestled to the ground within the penalty box by Croatian defender Josip Šimunić. But appeals for a foul or a penalty kick were dismissed by English referee Graham Poll. You knew him already?
I knew who? Graham.
No. Joseph.
Oh, Joey.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I said to him he should have been in jail for that tackle.
Okay.
I still say it to him today.
And then they go through on a bunch of other errors that Graham Poll committed. Did you know Graham Poll already?
Yeah, he refereed
From
in
the Premier?
League, yeah.
Apparently he wasn't very liked. But
It was all right. It was more sort of strict, I would say.
okay. And then there's the issue of the game. For me, well, it's the issue that I want to talk about. The 3 yellow cards.
Uh-huh.
So he gave Šimunić, he didn't get one for when he should have went to jail
Yeah, that was
after tackling you.
that was it's a sentence, 100%. That.
He showed him a yellow card in the 61st minute for a foul on Harry Kewell. In the 90th minute, he showed him another yellow card for a foul, but he didn't give him a red card. And then in the 93rd, after he blew the final whistle, Šimunić came up to give him his peace of mind, and he showed them he gave him another yellow card and showed him a red card.
How was that then?
That's what the report states. Poll thus issued Šimunić with a 3rd yellow card and also showed him off. He wasn't aware, at least that's what he says, that he gave 3 yellow cards in the match. He says he got mixed up because Šimunić was speaking with an Australian accent,
Yeah.
and he wrote down a different player's name. After he gave Šimunić the red card, you gave him a hug. And it looked like, oh, you poor man.
No, it wasn't. No, because I told him, because Joe
So
was.
you did say something?
Yeah, well, during the game, Joe was marking me for a lot of the game, and I knew he had a yellow card.
Right.
I knew he had a yellow card, and I was trying to get him another yellow card.
Right, yeah.
Obviously, as you do. And I knew that if he gets a yellow card, he's out, because I knew he already got one. But Graham Poll, because I spoke to Graham Poll afterwards about that, like when he was back in England, yeah? And he said that because he had on the back of his card, he's got 2 things. One, numbers for the Australians and numbers for the Thingo. Now, he's come, like he's given the card, he's going to give the card to Joe, the first one or the second, I don't know which one. And so he must have been looking down at the card, and Joe's speaking to him in an Aussie accent. And he's thinking, and instead of putting number 6 in the Croat side, he puts it on the Aussie side.
But he appeared on Hard Talk, BBC. He says he didn't put anything down, that he was confident enough in himself to remember.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
I think that's less. I think that's covering. That's less embarrassing than this.
I think that's
sounds
what he
more
said
likely,
to me.
yeah.
That's what he's got a one line for them, one line for one for the Croats. He's not going to remember everybody.
Yeah, obviously.
Come on, you can't remember everybody. You're
Well,
under pressure. You're under huge pressure.
Yeah,
as
but you
well.
get picked as a ref to ref the World Cup, and they were talking about him potentially reffing the final. It could go to your head. I'm not trying to say it did or that he's.
I don't think so. I think he did that. I think because he's got the things written down, and so you imagine that he's got the card, whatever he's trying to write down whatever fine thingo. There's thousands of people, yelling, screaming. Joe Šimunić comes up to him. He's probably not even looked at him. But he hears the Aussie accent,
Yeah.
and he's thinking, oh, he's an Aussie. So he maybe didn't even think. Bang, puts it under Craig Moore, Craig Moore.
Did you say anything?
We didn't know.
For the second yellow card, though?
Whose?
Šimunić's. When he got the
No, I
second...
did. That's what I said to him.
Yeah?
I come up to him. You'll see, if you see it on the thingo. I said to him, "You've already booked him. You've already booked him." He goes, "Go away." No.
Okay,
whatever.
no talk. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I go, "Have a look. You've booked him already." So he must have had a look, and it says Craig Moore, our player.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with that many people there, and
No, it's not easy, you know. It's
Yeah,
not
I-
easy
yeah.
refereeing. Like there's 50,000 people there screaming, you know, and
of
you don't
whom
know.
all of them want to kill you because you're the ref.
Exactly.
Right?
Nobody's
Nobody's
likes
on your
that.
side.
Nobody likes
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So I'm assuming you're looking into a career as a ref.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, after football, that'd be great.
Well, he said that it haunted him forever, and he had nightmares and whatever. And I
Did it?
think, well, that's what he said. I mean, now we're starting to feel sorry for the man who I didn't feel sorry for 5 minutes ago.
Look,
he
you know what it
explained his
is. It's
decisions
not
to the
easy.
ref.
It's not easy.
The pain and agony and sleepless nights that resulted from his mistake. And anyway, he left. He retired soon after.
Yeah.
Right? So
No, I think they stopped him from doing international from then.
yes, they stopped him
Yeah.
from doing international, and then he did some in the Premier.
He played. He was still in the.
He knew
Premiership.
right away that after the match, he wasn't even aware, and the officials came in and told him, you gave 3 yellow cards to a player.
Oh, did they?
And then they watched the DVD, him and his linesman, and the 4th, and they all then realized their mistake. That's according to the story. And they just weren't aware, and then they were in shock. And then they knew, we're not going to be reffing the final.
Ah, so because the 3 of them from England, weren't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was more pissed off about the penalty.
Yeah.
Well,
Because Joe Šimunić, he should have been, honestly, he should have been on his
There's
bike, man.
there's an issue with
That was
penalties.
a penalty. I've got a picture, and I sent it to Joe a few times. And he goes that I'm just a whinger.
But you and Joe know each other.
Well,
prior to that.
when I was at the Institute of Sport in Canberra, he's from Canberra, and he used to come in and train with us as a 13-year-old. He's 2 or 3 years younger than me. So he used to come in and he would train with us, you know, as a youngster.
Yeah.
We were 16 and he was like 14 or 13 or something like that. But he was very skillful
Yeah.
as a youngster, very skillful player.
But there must have been some sort of the banter back and forth on the pitch and this and that. But you guys kind of know each other, so
Well, he
are
knew
you
almost
ribbing him
everybody
or,
on the pitch. You
Ah,
know?
yeah, you do, huh?
You knew everybody on the pitch
I knew
practically.
everybody, they're all my mates.
All the Croat
Most of
players
them.
and all
Not
the
everyone, but most of them.
Most
I
of them.
played with most of them. Tito was my first coach at Dinamo.
Yeah.
Tito's Niko.
Yeah, Niko Krenča.
Niko was there. When I came to Dinamo, he was he used to hang around.
Yeah, yeah.
Tito's son and his daughter as well. They used to come and hang around with us and that. And so I knew most of them. You know, the Dinamo ones anyway.
Right.
So Thomas was there.
Oh, there's a penalty involving Thomas, right? Later in the
he
second half?
handled it. He
He handballed it in the penalty box.
Yeah.
And then he did it again later, and he didn't call it.
Yes.
He remembers the
Of
game.
course. So, you know.
Well, you did advance in the end.
Yeah, we went through.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think to be fair, I don't think we deserve it.
No, I don't think so.
The way we were
we just
playing.
weren't that great. That
No.
No,
On air, I will take issue with that. No.
absolutely.
Kranjčar, Cico, after the game, was asked to his face for the first time. Somebody asked, is this acceptable level of play for Croatian national football team? And he said, yes, I think this is our ability right now. And I don't accept that. No.
Refer to
Croatia
Graham
is
Paul
a
and
football
what-
powerhouse, and we need to respect ourselves and treat ourselves like that. And I think that's what Dalic did. I think people like Dalic, even before him, Slaven Bilic, brought back that, or not even brought back, introduced that winning mentality that, we have generations of good players,
Yeah.
and even the boys from abroad, you guys all did very, very well. You achieved, great heights in the sport. I think we need to respect ourselves, and I think that's what we're doing. And
Well, look, yeah, there's high expectation, and you have to be if you're if you've got that sort of a pedigree as a nation,
Yeah.
which is it's a miracle how well Croatia has done. Really, they've overachieved.
yes,
Yes, considering the
They've
size. Of
overachieved, but that also goes in waves.
Mm-hmm.
After '98, there was a big lull as well. There was what was that 90? What was that? Were they?
we
after
had
2000.
So in '98, I think it was after '98. Then
It was 2002, wasn't it?
2002. That was
Japan and
and Korea.
Yeah.
And I think that was where Olic first made his kind of like statement, "I'm on the scene" kind of thing. Alan Bokšić was still with the team.
Boka was there,
one of my favorite players. Just
Me too, yeah.
him, Robert Jarni from that generation, just ridiculous.
Yeah, good player.
I think he was our best left wing ever.
Absolutely. Like not enough good things to say about him.
Jarni was good, yeah.
Yeah.
Lefty, yeah.
And transposing that now to today, when I look at guys like I remember watching Perisic when he was coming up through the junior ranks, I'm just thinking like, this is it. You know, this is the guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was fantastic. Him and another guy that I don't know why, but I always thought, of course I'm going to blank on his name now, Sassuolo. He played for the Italian Sassuolo.
How old?
Šime.
Vrsaljko.
Vrsaljko.
Yeah, Vrsaljko.
Yeah. And these were guys, coming up. So how do you see now, especially with these two games that just happened in the last couple of days, how do you see the Croatian team now? We've got like the ultimate in Luka Modric, but he is,
Yeah.
he's pushing 40. Perisic is still
Turns 40 today.
Yeah. Oh, happy birthday, Luka.
Yeah.
Perisic, I think it's 36 now, but still physically
Doing
at
great,
the peak. But also a lot of these young guys coming up and really contributing. How do you see the national team going in?
Look, I think it's very difficult to keep at those heights for that long, especially if there's a big change in generation. We do have a lot of good youngsters coming through. Whether they can, keep that same level is going to be a big call for them. Experience is a big thing, and if you've never experienced those sort of things, you panic a little bit in those situations. That's why. Why do you think Modric? All the best players are calm under pressure, and it takes time to get that into you. I remember the first time I played in front of a massive crowd, I was very nervous, and then later on that just becomes normal. You don't think about that. You're just concentrating on the game, and when you have more big tournaments under your belt. What Luka Modric came on in that game. I don't know how old he was then. He was when we played against Croatia.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember he came on in the second half or something, and so that was his first experience at a tournament. So the next time you go there, and at a young age, the next time you go there, you've already got that in your locker. You can, it's not you're not daunted by it. You know what I mean?
Right, it has no effect.
Yeah. And so they're pretty big boots to fill. These guys who this last generation. So I hope the youngsters can do it.
Well, we did it yesterday, last night.
Yeah.
4-0.
Yeah,
Can't argue with that.
Look, Croatia's always competitive, always. And I think the harder the game, the more competitive they are. We usually,
Play down to the weaker teams.
Yes.
Play up to the
1-0
For
Faroe
some reason,
Islands,
it's like they're big game players. A lot of them. For some reason, even if but when you think about our history, it's been like that, isn't it? When you think about who would have, or imagine if everybody was 91 defeatist like a lot of people are. Before the Yugoslav army. How many? What would they keep saying? It's fifth biggest army in the world.
All lies.
Huh?
I don't buy that. I don't believe
Yeah,
that.
but imagine if we said that now, and I think Croatians have that in them.
Yeah, we do
I think
that in us.
sorry to interrupt. I think it's as far as the football is concerned, it's changing. Dalic is helping that. The players have got the attitude. Now we're going places to play, and it's like Croatia's coming. It's not, we're going and hoping to have the best result. No, we're going to win.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who we're playing. We're going to win. As opposed to, if we get a tie game, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
all
the
these years
mentality.
that are practically in the top 10, we've dropped out a little bit here and there. But since '98, we've always been around the top 10. And it's finally got into the players. And it's finally spread to other teams, other countries. Oh, Croatia's in my group. Well, we have to worry about them. And that in itself is so competitive and so enough for me. I can't stand a coach that says we're going in and we'll be satisfied with a tie game.
No, nobody.
We're going to win.
Yeah,
If I'm
you
going to
don't.
play Brazil in the prime of their history, we're going to win. What
Yeah,
else
yeah,
is the game about, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always go back to like '98. You know, obviously we were all a lot younger, and that was a huge thing because it was like the first kind of putting us on the map, globally speaking. But you look at that midfield. I would argue that was the best midfield in the world at the time.
It was great.
It was
Great midfield. There's a player. For me, one player who doesn't get any recognition. That's Asanovic.
Oh, I love
Awesome.
What a
Ivanisevic.
player he was.
Awesome
love
player,
him.
right?
Yeah, what a player he was. Like when you think about, you know, like when you okay, Boban and Prosinečki and you know Stanic and like that, but Asanovic was a player who could have played. You know, he was a top player.
So I had a.
But he didn't get maybe some of the opportunities the other ones did.
Yeah, I don't think he did because I remember hearing an interview with him, and he said that he went over to France, and they were telling him, "You're too young. You should probably hang around a year." He went over anyways, and he said later on, he goes, "Yeah, I think they were right. I think I was a little bit too young." And then I was actually, you guys know him, Dennis Rukavina.
Yeah,
Right, so Dennis played soccer in the States, and one of his teammates was a guy from Liverpool. And I met through Dennis, I met him and we were talking. And his take on Asanovic in Derby County was that he was just too far ahead of the other players. They couldn't, they couldn't literally read into what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes sense to me because Asanovic was, I always had the idea that like his passes were like a quarter thought or a half a thought ahead of the rest.
Very clever player.
Yeah.
Very clever player. Used his body well.
Well,
elbows,
clever.
obviously.
But yeah, I mean, I saw one. I think I've told you about it. We were playing Germany. I think it was European Championship. First time Croatia competed.
96.
Yeah. And you know when you're running for the ball and you're both competing for it, pushing each other, and he did the elbow because everybody knows that Asanovic. But he did it, and they both fell and rolled to the ground, and the ref blew the whistle. And he came up and he called a free kick for Croatia. Meanwhile, Asanovic committed the foul. And he's sitting on the ground, he's pulling up his socks, and he looks at the ref and he goes, "Give him a card." And the ref gave the guy a card.
The other guy.
His
I wish I
Obi-Wan,
could find that clip. You know?
his Obi-Wan Kenobi move.
So when he says he was a very clever player. No, well, of course he was.
Yeah, but he was.
Yeah.
No, he was a very good player.
And I'm always fascinated.
But then again, France had a good team that year.
They did. They
Yeah.
did.
When
And
you
I-
look at the players that they had.
yeah, they were fantastic. I think
And Brazil as well.
Brazil was. The Netherlands for me were always like the
Holland
Netherlands.
was good as well.
Yeah, and think about it. Overmars.
Camp.
Yeah, like these guys were all at the peak of their powers at the time. It was
Kluivert was there as well.
Weren't those
Kluivert was
brothers-
there.
Weren't the
exactly.
brothers there?
The De Boer brothers.
De
were
Boer.
there. Yeah.
They,
So
had they were a good team.
yeah, and like to come out of that.
Who was the what's his name, the one who played for Barcelona, the sweeper. He was still playing then, I think. And he coached them later. Barcelona. Cox as well, away.
No, for Barcelona, I'm thinking Inter Milan.
Rijkaard. It wasn't Rijkaard?
No, the defender, blonde guy, like blonde
Oh,
hair.
I can't remember.
He was for Barcelona. He was there like sweeper at the back, Dutch guy.
Can't remember.
Cox is over on.
But they had Edgar Davids at the time.
Davids was there.
Another.
Yeah, Edgar Davids was good
It
too.
was like very physical on the ball. But like when you look at those teams and you're sitting there and you look at Croatia, and I can go down the line and I can say we absolutely can match up on a player-to-player basis with all of those national sides, which is fantastic.
You can, but in terms of names, maybe not so much. Like when you compare De Boer with I don't know, Stanic or Asanovic. But in terms of performance, yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
you
get
know,
it.
if you looked at the names on the thing and you say, okay, that's Frank de Boer, whatever, this guy, Edgar Davids, one of the best players in the world, and then you got Aljoša, Stanic, Kruno Jurčić. Do you know what I mean?
No, I totally get
But
that.
you
but-
know, I think for Croatia, one of the biggest motivator was actually the war, the situation that the country was in. That was a huge motivator
Definitely.
yeah,
for a strong national team.
yeah,
You know, again,
We had something to
people,
prove.
yeah, they had something to prove. New country, I mean, 1,000-year history or whatever. With one of the things that I can't explain is how come Serbia is nowhere near that level? How come Bosnia is nowhere near that level? How come Slovenia is nowhere near that level? Do you know what I'm saying?
yep,
Teo?
yep.
Like we're here 20 minutes from the Slovenian border. Why are they not that good at football?
Yeah. What's different?
What's different? What about Bosnia? Like, why is Croatia so
I think
successful?
I think it has something to do with what you were mentioning before. We unfortunately we play down to lower teams levels, but we definitely play up. We get motivated, and we have this underdog thing,
Yes.
right? We're
Yes.
just like, oh yeah, okay, but we'll take you on.
Yeah. I think Croatia plays badly when they're the favourites.
Totally agree with you. Absolutely
You know?
agree. And I think it's not just football. I think it's every sport.
Maybe.
How many times have we watched Goran Ivanisevic play with Pete Sampras? You're going, oh my God, this is like top tier
Yes.
stuff. Next week he'll lose to a guy ranked 87th.
Yeah.
You know, and we always had that kind of thing. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he took a lot of nerves out of me watching him. How many years? And finally he wins the Wimbledon.
Oh, there's your payback.
He comes to the cafe, from what I read.
Is it worth it or not?
If it was worth it for him, it's worth it for me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He paid it all off. By winning. Absolutely.
Well, that day was just fantastic.
But even Eva Maioli, she had the same kind of trajectory. But then when she won the French Open, I was like, that's it. You know,
Yeah.
you've done it. I can forgive all of that stuff.
But he did it. He knew that if he loses in Wimbledon, any match, that's the end. He's not playing anymore. He's decided already that this is the last rush. And he takes it right to the end on a wild card invitation.
And that's ridiculous. That's you can't write that.
Yeah.
And then he dedicates it to Dražen Petrovic.
And he dedicates it.
They put the mic in front of him. And he says, "There's a basketball player from Croatia who passed away, and I wanted Dražen. This is for you."
Imagine that.
Wow.
And bringing it all home, he beat Pat Rafter, an Aussie.
That's true, yeah. Pat Rafter, yeah. He was a good tennis player.
He was fantastic.
He was very good.
Dude, he was a fantastic player.
We're gonna
we're going to wrap it up there, folks. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to join us
Smash
next
the
time.
like button.
Smash the like button. Do all of those things that you need to do.
subscribe, turn on notifications.
Yeah, we don't have it set up yet, but if you want to buy us a beer, we're all in for it. You know, it's like,
We're not going to do the
Crowdfunding.
None of that buy me a coffee.
don't tell me that's not a genius idea.
That's a
right?
great
That's a
idea.
fantastic idea.
We're not going to do buy me a coffee. Buy me a beer.
Thanks
All
for
right,
coming, Mark.
yeah.
It was
No,
awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
Mark,
you very
thanks
much
for coming.
for coming.
It was great talking to
Absolutely
you.
fantastic conversation.
Interesting to hear some things that I've never heard.
Yeah, get the inside.
And once we got to know each other, I didn't want to ask you because we knew you were coming on the show. So I'm gonna save it.
Leave
I
it,
don't.
yeah.
I don't want
Save
to
it for the show. Why not?
Taking notes. I'm going to save that for later.
Yeah.
You could have asked me before, and then I would have acted like I never heard you ask.
He also acts.
Okay, folks, that's that for this episode. Keep it between the ditches. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.